Have you ever watched your team go up against a player so frightening, so unstoppable, that he made an entire country hold its breath? For Argentina, that nightmare and miracle came on December 18th, 2022, the World Cup final. The night Lionel Messi chased destiny and Kylian Mbappé made millions shiver. This wasn't just a football match. This was history. This was legacy. This was a battle that would test the heart of a nation and push two superstars to their absolute limits. For Argentina, the stakes couldn't have been higher. Lionel Messi, 35 years old, adored by millions, worshipped by his country, was walking into what everyone knew was his last chance. For years, critics reminded him of the one trophy missing from his glittering cabinet. He had won everything. League titles, Champions Leagues, Ballon d'Or after Ballon d'Or, but not the World Cup. The greatest players are remembered not only for their brilliance, but for what they give their nations. For Messi, this was it, his final dance, his moment of truth. But Argentina's journey to this final had been anything but smooth. Their tournament began with humiliation. The world watched in disbelief as little Saudi Arabia, a team no one gave a chance, shocked them in the opening game. Argentina were rattled. Headlines screamed that Messi's dream was over before it had even begun. But sometimes the greatest stories start with pain. Argentina regrouped, rebuilt, and fought their way back. They topped their group. They survived the intensity of the knockout rounds. A scrappy battle with Australia, a war with the Netherlands that descended into chaos and penalties, and then a masterclass against Croatia. Finally, after years of heartbreak, they were back on the biggest stage, the World Cup final. But standing in their way was a nightmare in blue. France, the reigning champions, ruthless, relentless, and led by a young man who had already haunted Argentina before, Kylian Mbappé. 4 years earlier in Russia, Mbappé had exploded onto the world stage. He was just a teenager, but he tore Argentina apart with pace, power, and precision. 2 goals, a penalty won. He sent Messi and his men home. That memory still burned in the hearts of Argentinian fans. And now, here he was again. Older, sharper, more dangerous. If Argentina wanted glory, they would have to slay the monster who had already destroyed them once. The match began, and Argentina came out like lions. They pressed, they attacked, they poured forward with energy. This wasn't a team that wanted to survive. This was a team that wanted to conquer. And soon they were rewarded, a foul in the box. The referee pointed to the spot. Messi stepped up, calm, composed, the world watching. One breath, one step, one strike. Goal. Argentina led. But Argentina wasn't done. The magic of Angel Di Maria, a man who had been Argentina's secret weapon in finals for years, struck again. He had scored in the Olympics final, he had scored in the Copa America final, and now in the biggest game of them all, he delivered once more. A breathtaking move swept through the French defense, and Di Maria finished it off. 2-0. Argentina were in dreamland. At halftime, Argentina were not just ahead, they were dominant. France had been suffocated, silenced. Not a single shot on target, not a single moment of real danger. In the stands, Argentinian fans sang with tears in their eyes. After 36 years of waiting, after so many scars of defeat, it felt like the dream was finally coming true. But football has a cruel way of reminding you that the game isn't over until it's over. For 79 minutes, Kylian Mbappé had been invisible. The cameras barely found him. The Argentine defense had him locked down. Fans began to whisper that maybe, just maybe, this was not his night. But then, in one heartbeat, everything changed. If you love the beautiful game, stick with us. Subscribe and see all our future football videos. A pass, a duel. Nicolas Otamendi pulled down Colomwani in the box. The referee pointed to the spot. Penalty. Suddenly, France had hope. And who else to take it but Mbappé? He stood there, eyes fixed, the weight of his nation on his shoulders, staring down Martínez, Argentina's penalty specialist. Mbappé struck. Powerful, ruthless, unstoppable. 2-1. France had life, but Argentina had no time to breathe. Barely 60 seconds later, chaos unfolded. Messi lost the ball in midfield. France pounced. A quick exchange, a give and go. The ball dropped to Mbappé, and with a strike of sheer beauty, he volleyed it into the net. A goal for the ages. In 1 minute, Argentina's 2-0 dream had evaporated into a 2-2 nightmare. The stadium erupted. French fans screamed. Argentinian fans went silent. Fear spread like wildfire. Mbappé was alive, and he was terrifying. From that moment on, every time he touched the ball, Argentina shivered. They had seen this before. In 2014, they controlled the final, only to be killed by one late German strike. In 2018, they were crushed by this same boy. And now, once again, Mbappé had risen from the shadows to haunt them. Normal time ended. Extra time began. Argentina tried to steady themselves, tried to remember who they were. And then their captain answered the call. Messi. Always Messi. A rebound, a chance, a strike. The ball crossed the line. Argentina led again. 3-2. The stadium shook. Was this the goal that sealed destiny? Was this the goal that would finally give Messi his crown? But Mbappé refused to let go. Just minutes later, he unleashed another strike. Blocked by the arm of Gonzalo Montiel. Another penalty. Another chance. Could he really beat Martínez again? Yes, he could. He buried it. A hat trick in a World Cup final. The first in more than half a century. History. Pure, unstoppable history. At 3-3, the world was losing its mind. Every second was torture. Every attack, a dagger to the heart. And then came a moment that will never be forgotten. Kolo Muani broke through, one-on-one with Martínez. This was it. The World Cup in his hands. France was ready to celebrate. But then, an outstretched leg, a save that defied belief. Emi Martínez, in the most impossible moment, saved Argentina from collapse. It was one of the greatest saves ever seen in football. The whistle blew. After 120 minutes of chaos, drama, and glory, there was only one way left to decide the world champion: penalties. Mbappé stepped up first. He had already beaten Martínez twice from the spot. Could he do it again? He did. Ice cold. 3 penalties. A hat trick complete. Unstoppable. Then Messi stepped forward. The legend. The captain. The dreamer. He scored. Calm as ever. But France began to falter. Coman missed. Tchouaméni missed. Argentina remained flawless. And then, at last, Montiel stepped up. 1 strike. 1 goal. 1 nation reborn. Argentina. World champions. 36 years of waiting ended in tears of joy. Lionel Messi at last had his crown. But even in victory, one truth remained. From the 80th minute to the 120th, Kylian Mbappé had made an entire nation tremble. He had risen like a storm, dragged his country on his back, and etched his name into football history. That night in Lusail will forever be remembered. Not just because Argentina finally touched glory, but because the world witnessed chaos, beauty, fear, and greatness all at once. It was more than a game. It was a masterpiece. The greatest final in World Cup history, and at its heart, 2 men, one chasing his destiny, the other reminding the world that he is the future. Messi lifted the trophy. Argentina celebrated. But Mbappé left the field knowing he had shaken the soul of a nation.